A lioness with a lion cub in her mouth, but the lioness lunges at him. They had a fierce fight, almost tearing the cub in two. Let's see what really happened. It turns out the lioness had been away from the pride for over a month. Now she's brought a lion cub back into the pride. He's been gone most of the day. He's hungry and thirsty. He has come into the Lion King's territory. He looks back to where the cubs are hiding. It's been almost 2 months since we've seen each other. The Lion King is puzzled by the lioness's behavior. They look at each other. The ready lioness has nothing more to say. After a brief greeting to the lioness, he rushes to the river to drink. However, the lioness is surprised by his behavior. The lioness looks impatient. She was also scowling at him. The Lion King was puzzled. He stood there in silence. He has just had his fill of water. The lioness is on her way. He must get back to the pride as soon as possible, otherwise he will not be able to catch his prey. The lioness's behavior has been noticed by the Lion King. The lioness is very sensitive to the cubs. He thinks that the other lions have cuckolded him. How could he swallow this anger? So he ran over to him in a fury, ready to kill the lion cub. Seeing the lioness running towards him, the lioness was prepared. He'd given his life to keep the cub safe. Seeing how determined the lioness was, the lioness is so determined that she has to slow down her attack. He keeps showing the scent of the cubs. Finally, he opens his mouth and laughs. He never thought he'd have a child in his old age. Now he was at peace. Grooming the lion cub's messy fur. Here's a picture of the three of them. The lion cub is carried by the lioness for dozens of kilometers. His neck is sore and aching. To inspect the wide territory, the Lion King has become emaciated. He doesn't have long to rest. The lioness is ready to carry her cubs again, and the cub is furious with him. He's already frightened of being carried by the lioness. The soreness in his neck is a constant source of frustration. He is constantly aware of the lioness's behavior. His body is the size of a palm. I had no idea he could be so violent. When he got angry, he roars and barks at the lioness with his mouth open. Several of the lioness's attacks were easily deflected by him. He looks very aggressive. The lioness is in a dilemma if she doesn't hurry up and get going. By the time it gets dark, their situation will become precarious. The lion cub is still fighting with the lioness. The lioness has nothing to do with him. To keep the lioness from grabbing him by the neck, the lion cub is constantly rolling on the ground. This is the best way to get away from the lioness. The lion cub's reactions are becoming more and more violent. His body is covered in hay. He is often on all fours. The lioness is at her wits' end. At the slightest movement, the lion cub is frightened. He opens his mouth to scare the lioness. He also taps the lioness on the chin with his paws. The lioness is eventually defeated. It's hot. They have both used up too much energy. The lioness feels very helpless. He's a bit of a hard ass to the cubs, but the cubs don't take his advice. He's always on the lookout for him. Look at the lion cub's reaction. It's clear that he's against the lioness. His skinny body rolls around in the grassland. He adjusts his body position. He doesn't give the lioness any chance. After a few rounds, the young lion cub has won a stage victory. He is fed up with his mother's behavior. After all, he's too young now. He has no idea of the harshness of his surroundings, still playing his little game. The lioness is also impatient and leaves the cub on the ground and walks away. But this is a stubborn young lion. Seeing the lioness leave, he lies there and doesn't move a muscle. Finally, the lioness reassures him. The lioness is soothing him. He followed closely behind the lioness. It's not long before he starts to fall behind. It was then that he felt the difficulty of walking. Finally, he lies down on the ground and doesn't move. This time he did not resist. He let the lioness take him in her mouth. That's all for today's story. Thanks for watching and subscribing.